The question is that the amendment be disagreed to. I give the call to the member for Warringah.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I thank the member for moving this amendment. And I do echo some of the sentiments that have been said in this place, that I do believe this is an amendment moved in good faith. We do have a duty as parliamentarians to offer as much security or reassurance to those more vulnerable in our society as we possibly can. This has been an incredible year. 2020 has been incredibly challenging, and for so many people in the population, the support payments, and I've congratulated the governments on having done JobKeeper and JobSeeker, and these measures that have made such a difference for those more vulnerable and people who have found themselves without employment. But we need to be very focused that those on JobSeeker are incredibly vulnerable. We can't have a situation of going back to the previous rate. During the 2019 election, I supported the Raise the Rate campaign. It is supported by many in this place, and I feel that it's really an obstinate reluctance to acknowledge the inevitable and not give security and some reassurance to those who desperately need to hear it, that JobSeeker and the supplement be extended, and that there be a permanent recognition of where that rate needs to be so people can meaningfully bridge the gap between employment opportunities. If we want people to go from having lost their employment to new employment, they need to be in a position where they actually can get themselves on transport to job interviews. They need to be able to be dressed for job interviews. They need to have a home to live in to go to job interviews. You can't have a situation where they're pushed into such levels of desperation of not being able to make ends meet that they have no ability to get to job interviews and find employment. That has to be the ideal and the goal that we have in this place of assisting people in our community needing to find employment. And we have to be very real about the people we're talking about. It's often, I would say, misrepresented. You know, we used to have, I believe under Prime Minister Howard, there was a whole campaign around dole bludgers. But this is not at all what we're talking about. It's insulting to those. We know women over 55 have the highest rate of homelessness. They are the highest rate in our population of needing to rely on support, JobSeeker or New Start as it was, to get from one employment to the next. And unfortunately, that period is not just a matter of a couple of months. It is sadly a longer period than that. And they need to have support that is actually livable in the meantime. If not, what we're doing, what we're condoning, is that people are pushed into poverty. People are pushed into homelessness, and that is surely not the Australia that we all want to stand for. So I thank the member for these amendments. I urge the government to hear it. You have taken the right steps during this pandemic. It is time to give some reassurance to those who are desperate to know how they're going to make ends meet. Please consider the additional economic support payments in relation to the JobSeeker and the coronavirus payments, to extend them as indicated in this amendment. Those vulnerable people need our support, and I urge the government to do this. This is the right thing to do. Put political games aside and focus on the more vulnerable.
I thank the member for that contribution.